Hello, I'm Hap,
I'm Specs.
and today we're going to be discussing
Superheroes.
specifically the members of the Justice League. Now, I think we should start with Batman, because that's probably the most recognizable character.
Not to mention the most BA.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, Justice League, more like Batman.
Right?
Yeah.
So, he's going to be making his new debut as a character in the new up-and-coming Superman vs. Batman movie.
Yeah, isn't that 2015?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Wonder Woman's going to be in the movie. I don't know exactly how or why, because she needs her own movie, but I'm going to be doing a rant on that probably next week.
We'll get to that later, people.
Yeah.
Just don't worry about that.
And I think we should discuss what Batman was going to be like.
Yes, let us do that.
So, Batman has just, a few years ago, finished his trilogy, Dark Knight trilogy.
Yeah, with Dark Knight Rises in 2012. Yeah, 2012. Just a couple years ago.
And while there are differing opinions of how those movies were, I think we can all agree that the third one wasn't very good.
I would be inclined to disagree on that one. It wasn't quite as good as The Dark Knight, because let's face it, no one can top Heath Ledger's Joker.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it was still pretty good, because Tom Hardy was really menacing as Bane, and it was just kind of cool to get to see that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And they kind of tied it into the comics, because the way that Gotham was kind of cut off from the rest of the world, kind of like in the No Man's Land storyline in the comics.
Yeah, but it also disagrees with the Bane storyline of the comics.
That is true. I just want to say for the record that strictly appearance-wise, the Bane in the movie was nothing like in the comics, appearance-wise. Now, personality-wise, it was an almost perfect match.
Yes.
It was an almost perfect match of personality-wise, but the appearance could not have been further off. Honestly, in terms of appearance, Batman and Robin was a lot closer to it. But again, strictly in terms of appearance.
In Batman and Robin, he's shown as like a mindless behemoth, and
and I think he was actually played by a professional wrestler.
Maybe.
But I'm just talking strictly based on appearance. Appearance-wise, Batman and Robin was a lot more faithful to the comics, but The Dark Knight Rises was more faithful from a personality standpoint.
I guess. But like I said earlier, there are differing opinions of The Dark Knight Rises.
Yes,
and
there are.
The whole trilogy as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think that we can all agree that the character of Batman that was displayed in the Dark Knight trilogy was one of great detail and precision. He was definitely a creative rendering that was not as loyal to the comic books or to the original storyline, which can be good or bad.
It depends on how you look at it.
That's not what we're discussing today. We're
Nope.
discussing the character. We find out in the very beginning his entire storyline, how he was trained, who trained him.
Wait, like
his
in Dark Knight
backstory.
Rises, you mean?
No, in the trilogy.
Oh wait, yeah.
We
I haven't
find
seen it in
out
a while. Sorry.
We find out everything about that character. Whereas the one done by Tim Burton in the 80s, he was shrouded in great mystery.
Yeah, the one from Tim Burton's Batman in 1989, it kind of established the storyline of Batman over the course of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it didn't really come out and tell you that what Batman's backstory was. Mostly because I think it was playing under the assumption that most of the people watching it already knew what Batman's backstory was, but they did reveal it later on in the movie for the benefit of those who didn't. But still, they didn't just spill all the beans right at the very beginning of the movie. They did so over the course of it.
Mm-hmm. And it's a very tricky thing making a character based off of such a popular franchise. But the fact is, he has had many renderings of the same character. And I think it's going to be very interesting to see how he's going to be displayed in this new up-and-coming movie. Personally, I think they need to take an approach similar to the recent animated picture, where him and all of the other various superheroes from the Justice League fight Darkseid.
Oh yeah, that was one of the Justice League movies. I forget which one that one was.
JLA.
Oh yeah, that one. Yeah, haven't seen that.
And it was a very good movie, and I think that they got Batman's character really well. They showed that he was witty, but he didn't know everything. They showed that he was shrouded in darkness, but he wasn't that secretive. They showed that he was grungy and dark, but he wasn't depressed. I think they got a very good balance with him.
Yeah,
and I think that's the character they need to go with.
Yeah, because that's the kind of character that they've always shown in in the comic books, or at least the good comic books at any rate.
Yeah.
That being that, yes, Batman is like this dark, moody, and secretive superhero, but he does have people that he trusts.
Mm-hmm.
He's not like this depressed, but he's not like all depressed all the time.
Nor does he sound like he should be in a Norwegian metal band.
I was gonna say, nor does he sound like he has throat cancer. I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
But I think August and I have actually come up with a theory about that. Because I mean, didn't you tell me once that between his suit and all the gear on his utility belt, he's carrying around like several pounds of stuff at any given time?
That's true. Everything he carries is over 100 pounds.
So it's no wonder he sounds like that. He's probably
gasping for breath.
Yeah, when he gets to the tower, he's like, "You guys go on ahead. I'll catch up in a minute. I'll take the elevator. Dear Jesus, this stuff is heavy."
I feel like that's from an animated short.
Maybe, maybe not. I don't know.
Either way, it should be. Anybody watching, get on that.
Yeah, but give us credit for that.
Anyways, I think that we've got Batman down, and I think we've agreed that his character should be more balanced than the others.
Yeah, a sort of balance between the elements of Batman and Bruce Wayne, where it's like just dark enough that you can tell it's Batman, but just, well, what's the word I'm looking for here?
Human enough.
Human enough that you can tell that Bruce Wayne is the person under that mask.
Never forgetting that no matter all of his crazy gadgets and immensely powerful
Fighting
arts,
moves, he is still just one guy.
And that guy is nothing but, at his core, a detective. Now,
I mean, he's an incredibly awesome detective, but still.
Yeah.
Now, moving on.
I think we should discuss Superman.
Oh, Superman. The quintessential superhero. The dude's been around since like what, the 20s, 30s?
30s.
Yeah, and
before World War II, I know that.
Yeah, he was actually, I think, one of the original DC superheroes. Because I mean, I don't think Batman ever made his official debut until like 1940.
That is true.
So yeah, Superman was the original DC superhero, and he has like a laundry list of powers, of enemies,
of weaknesses,
and of course the classic alien from another planet storyline.
Yeah.
We all know that one.
He's the guy that all the other knockoff heroes are based off of.
Yeah, pretty much.
Now, whether or not you like Superman or you hate him, and don't worry, there's a lot of either of those.
There's plenty of examples for both of those. I mean, on the love him side, you have Superman, Superman 2, and Man of Steel. On the hate him side, you have Superman, Superman 3, Superman 4, Superman Returns, and to some Man of Steel.
Yeah.
We'll get to Man of Steel later.
Anyways, I think that the Superman as a character can be done very well, but I think that he needs to be a little bit more cocky. I think that if he was more arrogant, we would relate to him better.
Yeah, but I don't think they should go too overboard with that.
No, I'm not saying you should have
Superman is, because I mean, even in the Justice League cartoon from like the late '90s, early 2000s, they kind of showed Superman as like this strong leader. He wasn't all. He wasn't really arrogant. He wasn't really arrogant or anything. I mean,
in his defense, he is a strong leader.
yeah,
But I mean, he's intelligent, he's quick thinking, and he does have natural ability to get people to enjoy being around him.
yeah,
A character, I mean.
yeah.
And but I think that if they made him a little less humble, like they did in Man of Steel or other various pictures, where
And I mean,
he is basically just the people's person,
and I mean,
he has no individuality, and I think that's one of the reasons that people often don't like him, because he is nothing but an assimilation of powers to basically be Super Jesus for DC.
exactly. And I mean, and honestly, in one of the scenes in Man of Steel, when he's flying out of that spaceship, he goes out with his arms spread like he's on a crucifix, and it's like
So much
When I was
Jesus
watching,
metaphors.
when I was watching that scene, all I could hear was, "I am Jesus, I am Jesus," and I mean,
But-
yeah, I don't. And I mean, if you're trying to show, if you want to show that Superman, at his core, is again like Batman, is just one guy, I mean, that's fine. More power to you, but just do it properly.
And another thing, you have now. I'm not saying that plot points are the most important thing. God knows there's no such thing as a perfect plot.
Ain't
But
that the truth?
the problem arises with the Man of Steel, is that it's so. How do you say? It's not actiony enough. I think that's the reason so many people don't like his character. Even though he has the ability to destroy planets with his fists and his eyes and his mouth, he can just do pretty much anything he wants. His character, as of late, has not been used for that purpose.
Yeah,
He's
his
been
character's
used
been a lot more sedate, I guess would be the term.
as an inspiration to people who feel like they don't have the ability to do anything, but in reality they do. The problem arises in the fact that we've been doing this type of character for Superman for way too long.
Yeah, he's been played like for as pretty much as long as I can remember as the superhero Boy Scout. I mean, come on, Superman, just once, haul off and punch Lex Luthor in the face.
And now there's nothing wrong with being an honest, true and blue person.
Yeah, but
But-
there is a problem with going with that same shtick over and over and over and over.
I think that the main problem with that is he's not a person. People need to connect with these superheroes. That's the whole reason that most people watch movies about these characters and read the stories of these characters, because they represent specific types of characteristics that we connect with and
Like-
exemplify us and make us feel like we can accomplish the same things in the same fashion as them.
Well, maybe not in the same fashion, but that we can do the same things. I mean, like,
Mhm.
and I mean, I can understand why they would want Superman to appear to be like this clean-cut, goody two-shoes, is because good role model for the kids. But let's face it, these days movies and comic books are a lot darker, a lot more gritty, and a lot more violent. They are trying to cater to an older audience.
I think they also need to abandon that approach too. They need to focus on making these people people. And that's where a lot of the issues with superhero movies come up, especially Superman. We place him up on this pedestal as he is a god. He has the abilities of God. He has the morals of a god. He is better than you. And some people enjoy this.
Yeah, it's like he is better than you, but he won't say so.
And the problem is that we don't connect with that ability, because everyone has flaws. His only flaws are physical. He has very little emotional reasons to be upset about.
Honestly,
things.
the only time that I can think of Superman having some serious emotional problems are pretty much whenever he loses his powers and he goes into that hackneyed existential crisis over what it truly means to be a superhero.
But I think that all we need to do is we need to give him less humility, more arrogance, less inspirational, more. I don't really care about these people. I'm looking out for myself.
I don't think we should cut back on those elements too far.
Not too
Because
far.
I mean, it's like because it is that humility and that inspirational vibe that makes Superman Superman.
Mm-hmm.
But I do agree they do need to add in a bit more smugness. Make him a little more what's the word? Stuck up.
Kind of like, say he's beating up a bad guy, and he's just floating around like this.
And he's just going like,
"Oh, you tried to beat me up, dude. I ain't invincible. Okay, you know what? You know what? Lasers, police. I'm done. I'm out."
Yes, I would actually like to see them do that with Superman, and just have him be like, yeah, he's still that same clean cut superhero, but he's got more human elements to him. He has legitimate emotional weaknesses as well as physical.
Now, anyways, I think we've covered the two topics of these main characters that are going to hopefully wow us in the new movie coming up next year.
And I mean, between Christian Bale and what's his name, the guy doing Superman, I think we're in good hands.
I think we're in good hands. We're not using Christian Bale, and
sorry, folks, phone call.
well, I think that we're actually approaching the end of our show. If you agree with anything we've said, or you have any disagreements, or you just want to bring up valid points, or you want to correct us, pretty much anything is welcome. I think this concludes our show. Goodbye.